Now it's almost time for the big guy to make his rounds and start delivering presents all across the world. And I thought it'd be fun to talk about what motorcycle Santa would actually ride, because I think there's only one clear choice. And of course, I want to hear your opinion after the video. If you agree or totally disagree, tell me which bike you think Santa would ride. And if you like what I do, consider subscribing. Let's go and get into it. Now, I think one of the first obvious choices would be something like the Ninja H2R, which is a crazy expensive and crazy fast motorcycle. You're talking about 326 horsepower and a supercharged 1000cc sport bike. Yeah, this thing is pretty insane, and considering the fact that Santa has to make, all of these deliveries in one night, he has to go fast. And that's why Santa would choose a motorcycle anyways, because they're going to be faster than most cars, and maybe not as fast as a sleigh, but you understand where I'm going with this. And so a really fast sport bike would make sense in a lot of areas. Now, maybe in his youth, Santa would have rode something like this, but we got to consider that there's no storage on this motorcycle. And plus, the fact of Santa in his older age bent over the tank, on a high performance sport bike all night, I really doubt that. So we're going to take this idea and throw it out the window because I think there's some better options here. Now I thought, hey, if storage is a concern, what about something like a trike, like one of the Ravacos? You got trunk space, it's an automatic, it's got a 140 horsepower turbocharged engine, so it's got, a good amount of speed to it, and it's super stable, so he could carry all of his stuff on there and not really have to worry about it. These things also steer a heck of a lot easier than any Harley trike that I've been on. And again, considering that he's in his older age, and anybody that wants to ride a trike at that point, they want to be able to steer the trike easier. And that's one thing I found with the Ravacos, is that they are really light on the steering and they have a good amount of power. Now I don't really like the screen on this one, so I believe that Santa's navigation would suffer here because, well, there is no navigation on this bike, and the screen really does suck, especially during the day. We know that Santa does his best work at night, but regardless, I hate the screen and controls on this thing. And then I'm thinking, well, Santa doesn't really have the support system for the Ravaco depending upon the place that he's going. So if he does have some kind of breakdown, he may not be able to get to all the kids in one night. And so I'm going to take the Ravaco out. And plus, I think that Santa actually rides a legitimate motorcycle. Trikes are cool, don't get me wrong, but I think we're going to stick to two wheels. So then I thought about the Honda Goldwing, because now you have the ability to have storage. Another thing that you have with the Goldwing is a relatively quiet bike straight from the factory. And Silent Night is what Santa is all about, right? He needs to get there quickly, but he also has to be able to, get in and out without a bunch of people hearing him. Now, not only will he get a bunch of storage, but he's going to get a really comfortable seat. Sitting in the saddle all night long, I imagine, is going to be pretty rough on Santa, and so he wants to make sure that he has something, very comfortable. He's also going to get navigation and plenty of wind protection. Consider it's a colder time of year, I think this might be perfect for him, heated grips and all that kind of stuff. But then there's leg room, and so unfortunately, with that boxer style engine, your feet are right up underneath you. So if you want to stretch out, or if Santa wants to stretch out, there's really no good way to do that. Now, maybe he puts some aftermarket highway pegs on there that allowed him to get a little more comfortable, but I imagine that the big guy really wants forward controls, and then that way he can really stretch out on those longer trips in between houses. So I'm going to take the Goldwing and throw it out, and then at this point, there's really only one clear option, and that is Harley Davidson. And specifically the Harley Road Glide. Now, I would assume that it's either going to be the Road Glide or the Challenger. I kind of lean towards the Road Glide just because he has that dealer support. So if something goes wrong in the middle of the night, he has dealer support all across the world, and so he'll be able to get what he needs. Either way, the Road Glide fairing is going to cut through the wind really nicely, and no matter if he has the 114, 117, or even the new 121, he's going to have a ton of torque to haul those toys around. Now, he may actually prefer the motorized windshield on the Indian Challenger because it's going to give him a little bit more wind protection in between those long hauls. But again, I just think it's a matter of brand preference with Harley. I just imagine him, underneath his big red jacket, He's probably full of tattoos. He's got the beard. I mean, I just peg him as a Harley guy. This is simply just a guess, though. Now, not only will he get a ton of storage on the Road Glide, and not only will he get that shark nose fairing that's going to cut nicely through the wind, but he's also going to get the leg room, right? He's got big old floorboards. I'm sure he put highway pegs on there so he can change his feet and, seating position to an extent to be able to be more comfortable on the road. And because he's able to get so many parts from different places throughout the year, I'm sure he's got heated seats and heated grips and maybe even heated gear that he uses on his bike. Nice part about this, because he's losing his reindeer, he has an extra seat too. So if he wants to bring, maybe not Miss Santa, but one of the elves along to kind of help him drop off presents, he has that ability as well. He could probably stick an elf or two in his tour pack, which I assume he has one of those because he needs maximum storage. Now, I don't know what kind of music Santa would listen to, but he definitely has the ability to do that on a Road Glide. He also has navigation, so he can find his way around. And if you're going to give up your sleigh, there is no more stylish motorcycle to be on than a Harley Davidson. Now, he might not get there as quickly as he would on an H2R, but I believe all of these things combined make up the perfect motorcycle for Santa, and that would be the Harley Road Glide. I'd love to hear your opinion down below. What motorcycle do you think that Santa would actually ride? Let me know down below. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. You could also join us on Patreon or join the channel right here and never have to leave YouTube. Big thanks to you guys. See you in the next one, and as always, hold them down.